There we go.
All right. Well, welcome everyone virtually to our session on upcycling your makerspace. So, I kind of have a big passion for this because I know a lot of schools have this issue that makerspaces are just expensive to get started, or sometimes you feel like you're just wasting materials. And I want to kind of help schools and teachers see that you don't necessarily need to spend a lot of money up front to have some really meaningful engineering challenges and projects. So today's session is just going to be on that. It's going to be looking at some everyday household items, recycled items, things that you have laying around that could be repurposed, upcycled, and just generally used for your classroom STEM lab. I have a few suggestions to get started. And then what I'm hoping to do is I'm hoping to have a collaborative wakelet that we could all add our own ideas and projects to as we keep going. So this won't end with today's 20-minute session. This will continue on as a growing ever-changing database for the Google Innovator family on ways to upcycle that makerspace. So I am going to share my presentation now on a different tab. And so what you're going to see is I'm not going to go full screen with my presentation just for the purpose of going back and forth. I unfortunately don't have a second screen today, but we're going to be talking about that upcycling. So let's look at some of the projects that have been done by schools around the world that don't require any special equipment. So the first thing we're going to look at is paper. Paper of any kind is great. So here are two different paper projects. One is the most basic of basic, and the other one is a really advanced project that was a school-wide thing. So this first one here is a paper towel or tower, and it just requires your regular old standard copy paper. What's really great is it doesn't matter if anything is printed on it. So maybe your school sent letters home to the parents and you have extra copies in the classroom. Or maybe you had a scrap paper for a test and now you have paper laying around. It doesn't require it to be fresh, clean paper because the whole purpose of this, again, is upcycling and recycling. So the paper tower challenge is I've done this a lot with students. I've done this in professional development as an icebreaker. I hand out 10 sheets of paper and a piece of masking tape about 1 foot long, and that is all the group gets. Now, when I do it, I make the challenge that they have to make a tower that could hold the weight of a textbook, and whoever makes the tallest tower and successfully hold the weight of the book is going to be the winner of the challenge. This group here, it looks like they just did who can build the tallest tower. The other project on this page is paper boats. Now, I have also seen a really good episode of Mythbuster where they made a boat completely out of newspaper. And that is the purpose of this challenge. Students had to make a boat that not only floated, but could actually hold their weight. Ooh, welcome. I see people are starting to join us from the last group. So, welcome, welcome. We are talking about upcycling. We are currently talking about paper. And as I was just mentioning, you can use copy paper, you can use newspaper, magazines. There's a ton of different types of paper out there. And rather than that paper end up in a landfill, you can meaningfully upcycle it in your classroom. All right, so the next thing we're going to move on to is cardboard. And I don't have any specific projects with the cardboard because cardboard is just one of those products that you're going to have bountiful amounts of in a school building, in a household, and it can be used for so many things. It can be used as the display for the challenge, it can be used to build something for a challenge. But cardboard in itself is such a versatile product. And I know personally, I get like at least 3 Amazon boxes a week. Yes, I have a shopping habit, but your school is going to be getting boxes and boxes of deliveries. Your parents are going to be getting boxes and boxes of deliveries. So all of this cardboard can be flattened and piled somewhere. and you'll have it when your students need it for the variety of different projects. Now, this picture right here is talking about techniques on how to fold and combine that cardboard. So, just like with the paper, you could do a challenge of building something with cardboard. For example, you can do a bridge, and that bridge has to hold a certain amount of weight. Or um, you can build rockets. You can use it as the back display if you have makey makeys. You can make stuff out of that cardboard. So a lot of different types of projects where cardboard is going to play a key role. Moving on from cardboard, we have a special form of cardboard that is your cardboard rolls. This is going to be your toilet paper rolls, your paper towel rolls, your wrapping paper rolls. Tons of products are wrapped on cardboard, and that cardboard is a perfect tool for students to create challenges. So you'll see here in this primary school challenge, they made a marble run out of the cardboard. So you'll notice the green cardboard looks like they cut the tube in half to make little holders. And then this picture here, they made towers and a pulley system to lift things using just string and those cardboard rolls. So once again, it was very basic projects, but it used recycled materials, and it's showing the students that things don't have to land in those landfills, because we are at the cusp right now where, some people are saying it's too late, there's nothing we can do to save the planet, and other people are saying it's not too late, we still have a chance. I like to be that optimist that says we still have a chance to turn things around and save the planet for for the future, for our children and our children's children. So we're going to be showing our students all of these upcycling and green projects that just save all of these items from ending up in a landfill. The next item, I don't know about other countries. In America, this is going to be mostly your soda and your water bottles, but you can use these plastic bottles. You can use it to make a greenhouse. You can use it to make water rockets. I've also seen where you connect two water bottles on top of each other so that students can see how exactly a tornado spins and shake the bottle and stuff. So plastic bottles are great. All of these things you'll have in your school building, but you're also able to collect them from your parents. If you send a letter home or an email home to parents and explain to them that you are recycling for STEM, most parents are going to be willing to send those products into school with their students. The next one is, I find this one to be amazing. I don't know, I'm going to look back at the meet right now. I see I still have just a couple people, but I know personally I drink a lot of coffee, but I also know that I garden. And tomatoes, coffee beans actually have a lot of nutritional features for your plants. So if you take those grains from the coffee after you've brewed it, um, you will be able to take that coffee bean and use it as a fertilizer to start growing things. Not to mention that when you use K cups, the machine itself punches that hole in the bottom. So you already have a drainage system. So you have that nice small cup and you're able to just use that as a base for the plant. James just mentioned in the chat he also can do this with tea bags. I personally don't drink tea, but that's awesome. So thank you, James, for adding the tea bags as a possible solution to do that with. All right. So the next thing I wanted to do was, originally I thought I'd have a little bit more audience participation. So like James just mentioned the tea. I know a lot of people are going to be watching this on the recording. So I'm going to put the Wakelet in the chat and then I'm going to share it publicly. So that way, hopefully as people are watching this recording, they're going to add to that Wakelet and they're going to help build this database of projects that we can do with recycled materials for our students. Now, because I was hoping for this to be more of a interactive Wakelet, I only put a couple of options as a just a demonstration. But the one that I found the most interesting was you could actually use a water bottle to make a centrifuge. So if you turn it on its side, so it's the longer way, you could actually design it so that it can spin using, again, recycled materials, and you're able to separate those ingredients within that centrifuge. The other ones I put on there was I put the sample of the paper towel rolls to make the garden, or to make the cardboard marble rolls, and I also put the K-cups, getting started with gardening in your K-cups. So this really, like I said, the whole concept of this upcycling your makerspace is really to help your students see that they don't have to they don't have to throw all this stuff out. It doesn't need to end up in the landfills. We want to recycle, we want to reuse, and it's amazing what you can do with that. Now, there is one last upcycling, recycling project that I have seen, but I haven't seen it successfully done in schools yet. And that is where people are starting to use recycled materials to build walls. So, what they're doing is they are actually taking like your 2-liter soda bottles, and they were filling them with all of their waste that they can't recycle. So, they were making sure to put in all of their tubings, all of their plastic, anything that's not recyclable. They're filling it up to the bridges because they know it's not going to compost, it's not going to break down. And they're using that within the cement walls as extra filling, so that they're not using as much cement material. So they're taking their recycled goods that can't be recycled, and they're turning it into something that is meant to last. It's something that you don't want to break down. So they're taking those recycled materials, or sorry, those non-recycled materials, and turning them into something useful, rather than, again, just filling up those landfills. So whatever country you're living in, I know every country is going to have different recycling policies, different methods, different ways of doing things. But the goal of this is really to just help our students see how they can use these type of things successfully. And again, at the end of the day, it's going to be saving money for your school as well, because you're not going to be purchasing brand new paper and cardboard, or you're not going to be purchasing rockets just so your kids can see the concepts of the physics and the science. They're going to use these recycled materials and grow from them. They're going to make that project. They're going to see those results. They're going to be able to test gravity. They're going to be able to maybe do an egg drop, but a lot of different things that are going to just really help to enhance the makerspace and the STEM lessons in general. So, thank you all for joining. I know that I am about 5 minutes before we're officially going to end, but because again the live audience is going to be watching this on a recording, there's not really much Q&A at this point. So I am going
Actually, Corey, I am interested in this a lot, and my big question is, where do you get the storage for all of this?
So storage is an excellent question. So what I recommend to school for teachers to do is I recommend that they kind of only plan out like a month in advance
Mm-hmm.
and ask for those materials. So
Okay.
especially like with the gardening, you don't want to have K
Yeah.
cups in September that if you're not going to garden until April,
Yeah.
because first of all, it is organic material in those K cups.
Mm.
That coffee is not going to last until April,
Oh,
especially
so
if
you
they're
put the
used
requests in
coffee beans.
project by project. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, things like the cardboard that you're gonna use pretty consistently. So
Mm.
what I would recommend for the cardboard is, even if you pile it in the back of the closet, or maybe you have tall bookshelves that have like a
Mm.
little space above it,
Yeah.
cardboard's really thin, so you can squeeze it into like in crevices
Yeah.
between two bookshelves. Or
Yeah.
but the other stuff, yeah, I would say you're gonna do that more project by project. Maybe
Yeah.
send a letter home to parents at the beginning of the year and say, "Hey, at some point we're going to be doing this, so please,
Mm-hmm.
if you have stuff, hold on to it if you have space to store it, and
Mm-hmm.
when we're ready, you can send it in."
All right. Yeah. Good. Good. Cool.
Yeah. But
Yeah, no, it's a
anything
great
to keep at it.
presentation, but I think it must be the time zones. I don't know what time it is in the US and UK at the moment, but
It is,
Yeah. This one's
about 8
falling.
o'clock PM where I am.
This one's falling between the two sides. Yeah, we get this slightly quite a lull as US
Yeah.
falls offline and before Asia Pacific really kicks in properly. So we're in that slight lull. But
Yeah,
we get a lot of watches
it's
unrecorded.
before
I think
9
it's not
a.m. in the
recorded.
morning here.
Yeah.
So yeah, even earlier in